No. Look at how much better Craig looks. You look beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's all working out. Welcome to the Full Charge Power Hour. Pledge on Patreon, patreon.com/the full charge. And if you're on the East Coast or in Florida, which I guess is the East Coast as well, check out thefullcharge.com. I'm coming to a theater near you or a bar near you, whatever the case may be.
A barnuminium?
What? What is that?
What is that?
Barnuminium.
Is that where you live at a bar?
No, it's a barn.
Oh, a barn.
I think you said bar.
No,
Millennium.
they turn these giant, you just buy this big, giant empty barn and turn it into a house.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
so it's
pretty
barn meets condominium?
Yes.
Yes. I've never seen this. Did you get this off of Instagram like everybody?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
YouTube, whatever. They've been around a minute.
That's in the Little House vein of domestic life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
It's more like people that bought you're in like Wyoming and I bought 50 acres for like $20 and
yeah, you got nothing. Oh, yeah, right.
and all you got left is enough money to buy like a big metal shack. I mean, they're giant.
Yeah.
And then inside you class it up.
We should get a barn. We'll record like Led Zeppelin, just out in the middle of nowhere. Led Zeppelin 3.
You've traveled enough of America, right? In a car.
Oh, I'm
right?
about to, yeah, dude. It's a
Okay.
lot of land.
You see a lot of
There's a
dilapidated
lot of
barns,
yeah.
right? That's the thing. Coming from the Midwest, you see a lot of barns where farmers are like, "Yeah, it fell down. I'm not taking that."
Yeah,
thing
my
out." They just
grandpa's-
leave it there.
There's
for
entire
decades.
shopping malls in this country.
Now,
that are
right,
just-
Doing the same thing. Yeah.
I've seen a TV show where this guy, he just goes in the Midwest and he finds like bombed out, for lack of a better word, abandoned structures, and he skates them.
Oh, okay.
And like he's skating entire shopping centers because
Yeah.
people are just like, you know what? This is the next. Whoever buys this land, it's their problem.
Yeah.
And they just
Right.
they're out.
There is one that you've probably seen in a gazillion films going all the way back to Fast Times at Ridgemont High that is still, it's vacant and it still gets filmed in. There's one in Atlanta as
Oh,
well
the mall?
that's used. Yeah, there's a mall somewhere out in Encino or
Yes.
something like Van Nuys or somewhere
Yes.
that is... So out here, we repurpose them for filming. But yeah, I've seen those videos where people go to abandoned houses, abandoned malls,
Yes.
and do all this stuff. There was actually a Hulu show, I think, that was on that as well.
Sounds
Not the
right.
skater thing, but that sounds way more fun.
Abandoned houses.
They call them bandos.
The skaters or...
No, that's like actually, this guy Clayton English explained it to me because apparently, when you're old,
Sure.
and this was 8 years ago, and I was
Right.
already old, and like Clayton comes out, I'm opening for him down in Irvine. He won Last Comic Standing or whatever, and he comes out and he's dancing to this song that everybody knows, but I don't know it.
Yeah, of course.
And then he explains the lyrics to Irvine. He's like, see, a bando is an abandoned building where people make crack. And it's so funny to see all these white girls go, oh, because they've been singing it the whole time at the club, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right. Wow. I mean, I guess if you bring in a generator, I'm trying to just look at the logistics of it. Sounds good.
Well, yeah, and it's also like not your property.
Wait, a generator to make
Right.
crack cocaine?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you got to cook it.
You're gonna need electricity. You're gonna need fire.
You're going to need a little fire.
Yeah.
Fire, I'm going to go with crackheads probably don't think about the electricity part except for to steal the copper from it. I think they're more along the lines of building a fire that will burn the fucking place down as far as mindset mentality.
No, I'm talking the guys that are cooking it to make it, to sell it.
Yeah, you mean the guys that blow
They're
shit
not-
up every once in a while in
They're
accident?
not crackheads. Right, yeah, of course.
Except the meth guys, the meth makers.
Well, the meth makers usually are the ones that blow shit up. Crack, you're not really going to blow it up making
That's what
crack.
I love about your knowledge.
It's not...
Because of where you... No, not because you did it, but it's just because you come from a world where, like...
A criminal world.
It's like that you weren't even
It
a
is.
criminal in,
Yeah,
which is
but-
hilarious.
Yeah, I just knew a lot of criminals.
Yeah.
He's fascinated with criminals and people that just don't live a straight life.
Right.
Yeah.
They're fascinated with them. I
Yeah,
think you
that's-
just, by virtue, they were next to you all the time. Is that what it was?
Yeah, you just kind of find yourself, you and this other person, you're the only two people left in this apartment. You're like, oh, you sell pounds of meth. Okay. It's kind of crazy.
I just imagine
Pounds.
most of your life, every time there's like you're at a party and it's a drug bust, everybody gets arrested and they're like, Craig, you're good. Like you don't even move. Like everybody else around you gets taken out and they just know leave Coleman alone.
I got lucky that never happened.
You never had the cops here, man. Kicking the door down
I've been
thing?
pulled over several times. There was a month in Bakersfield where I got pulled over several times, and every time I realized that by the end of the month it was like I was either with one of my black friends or one of my Mexican friends.
Man.
And I go, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm not giving you guys rides anymore. Because
Did you really have
Trickle
that
down
sit-down?
racism.
oh yeah. No, I told my buddy Kevin, I go, yeah, dude. Every time I'm with you, we get pulled over because I look like a fucking skinhead and you're black.
Okay.
So you get pulled over because you're black, and I look like a skinhead, and they're like solid. But to the police's, they weren't wrong
Okay, so
because we were up to
you guys
something
were
every
up to-
time.
Oh, all of you were,
every
not just them.
time.
You guys
Yeah,
look
yeah.
suspicious anyway.
Yeah, we did. we did.
Any race you slice it.
And I stopped dressing the part. I was like, oh yeah, dude, shaved head, buttoned up flannel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why if you're going to go pick up crack or meth, always put on a suit.
Look like you're going to work.
Because then they don't even care if they see you with the
don't.
meth. They're like, this guy's got a job. He needs the
Right.
meth.
Right, dude. Yeah. This guy's just working hard.
He
I
needs
will
the energy. It's tax
will-
season.
I will take your suit theory, and
Yeah.
I will tell you what I learned when I worked in grocery back in the day.
Yeah.
They said that slick shoplifters will actually come in to shoplift in a suit because you're going to look past them. They said all you need to do is check out the shoes. If the
Oh.
shoes don't match the suit,
Oh.
that's a scam.
Yeah.
And you know what? They were usually right.
Man,
That's
people must
solid.
have
love that one,
eyes on me around 2005. 'Cause I was wearing suits that didn't even match.
The uptight was right.
yeah.
The up top was right.
I wore a mixed match suit on my half-hour special. Like
Hey.
I was into it.
Yeah, it was.
I love wearing secondhand clothes on TV because I want somebody to go, "That's my jacket. My jacket's famous."
When your grandpa died, we gave away. Hey, that guy's wearing your grandpa's jacket. That's fantastic. Grandpa's still alive.
Yeah. So we're early today,
Yeah.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
We got the office to ourselves, the bando to ourselves.
Oh, this.
Yeah, so
This
let's.
place is a perfect place to deal drugs or do drugs.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now, why do you say that?
It's on this off small street, right?
Uh-huh.
That is it's adjacent to nothing.
That is true.
And it's all businesses on here. So everybody's out of here by 5. And the people that live here, they're too poor that nobody's going to care.
Okay.
And they're not calling the cops.
This ain't a poor area though.
No, but this street is. Like those
Okay.
apartments,
Uh-huh.
shitty apartments, the house across the street, whatever, and the rest of it's all warehouse and businesses.
Why did you
Okay.
not become a detective? You talk
Because
like
I
a
was
guy
on
that's
the
just
wrong
like,
side of everything.
I know, but you talk
Yeah, but that's
like
what
you've been a
happens.
detective for like 40 years, and you're
Yeah,
like,
but
Well, that's what his Craig. For those who don't know, Craig works at Union Station, the train station downtown,
Right.
and that's what he's become.
right.
He's spotting mixed match suits and fucked up
Oh,
shoes
yeah,
all day
I've
long.
spotted a lot of mixed.
Yeah, that guy doesn't really want to sub from Subway. He's looking to grab a couple pickles and get out.
Yeah, I've gotten caught up in conversations with people. They always just say one thing, and you go, hold on, wait a minute. Oh, there's stains all over this suit. Oh, this guy's crazy. I've been talking to a crazy person for 4 minutes.
and here I thought he was the CEO like he said he was.
I was like, this guy's homeless.
But it's amazing how much even a secondhand suit can make you look
Oh,
just
for
so much
sure.
better than the average person. Because I remember I was wearing a shitty. This is 2007. I'm working in Las Vegas at the Laugh Factory, the comedy spot back then, and I'm wearing a secondhand thrift store suit. It's like the armpits are stained and everything,
Sure.
like all salty and shit. But the hookers would not leave
Oh,
me
right.
alone,
This guy's
dude.
money man.
Money.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not rich. I'm like, all my money's tied up in credit card incidentals right now, and credit card
awesome,
holds.
dude.
You know,
Credit
like,
card incidentals.
like, and they're like,
it's an investment.
They're just like, yeah, right.
Right.
Like, let's go to your
Buy it.
room, and I'm like, you don't understand. I'd have to give you my entire check this week.
Did you ever, when you first started to go there, did you initially ever fall for the false interest in you? And then somebody finally had to be like, hey, dude, just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
You're being
prostitute.
I've for a split second, I guess my instincts are right. I guess my self-esteem is so low that I was like, what's the catch?
Same. Same. Anytime,
I knew right away.
Yeah.
And I can be a mark for a lot of things.
Right.
I really can. The first half of my life was just going, I just got scammed.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Anytime somebody comes at me and it sounds too good, I'm off. Get out of here.
I'll take. Oh,
Nobody
right.
feels that way about me.
Sure.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, you were probably already informed by your dad
Yeah.
about something, but the opposite way of like, hey, this is how I got busted that one time. To where like,
Right.
I don't know how was your dad ever big into that stuff? My dad was more like, you can't really trust people. You know, you try to give them the best, but like you got to be careful. Kind of dad.
I'll
more
tell
like
you.
that.
I'll do you one better. My dad thought the average store was a ripoff. The average legitimate business was like, nah.
Nah, they're gonna get your money.
I remember one time, we the Navy base near my house is a big part of where I grew up. My dad worked there, and we would go see the air show every summer. The Blue Angels flying around and everything.
Okay, sure.
And I was like, oh, Dad, they're selling autographs, like an autograph booklet. Like, I want that.
Right.
And he's like,
Scam.
You don't want that. That's nothing. He's like, I'll give you an autograph. It's just someone's signature. You don't want that.
not
and
wrong.
It was probably only like $2 though.
Sure.
But he was like, not doing
Nah,
it. Forget
right.
it.
He's like,
yeah.
it's a waste of money. He's not wrong.
He knew that thing was going to have about as much value as your beer can collection that you were doing back then. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's like
Beer
you
can
wake up one
yeah.
day and you're like, why do I have this?
Yeah, no, and it's also like I was probably like 8 years old. So what am I going to do with a piece of paper?
Right.
I spent my entire life back then avoiding pieces of paper.
Right.
I'm going to sit down with a couple guys' names.
Yeah.
Trash.
Imagine bringing that out right now.
Right.
With your wife. Hey, you want to sit down and go over my old
Hey,
autograph?
Mark
book?
Hoffman signed this.
My wife's the type of person who actually keep it though.
Right.
She's like, well, it was a special moment in your life. You should keep this
Right.
this Blue Angels program. It says here the planes did a lot of tricks. It's just as exciting on the piece of paper. You don't have to see the planes whizzing by each other.
That's
Of course.
too good.
Yep.
Now, my dad's advice would always come at you in little pieces. He'd be like, all politicians are fucking liars. They should all die in the streets with their pants at their ankles.
Okay.
Right.
He took it stream, but yeah.
Tell them to hang in there. It might happen.
Never trust a fat cokehead. I remember that one.
That's an interesting one. Why?
He was, because I'd be like, what? He goes, they're cops.
Okay.
And I was like, that's solid. That's solid.
There are fat cokeheads though, right?
I mean, there are.
Chris Farley was a cokehead,
But
right?
for the most part, my dad's like,
No.
they're not. They're cops.
Yeah.
He's off. They're fucking fat cokehead. They're a cop.
That's great advice. It's weird father-son advice, but it's
Yeah.
great advice.
It is weird. Father-son advice.
What are you doing with a cokehead to begin with?
So when I try,
Like, he doesn't say avoid cokeheads.
Yeah.
He says avoid fat cokeheads.
exactly.
Like skinny cokeheads you can trust.
Yeah, they're
Wrong.
they're an actual cokehead. I
Yeah.
mean, they're going to take your shoes,
Right.
But yeah,
And your Coke.
Yeah, and definitely your Coke. So when I try to pass that information on to my kid, she just looks at me like I'm insane.
Yeah.
Mine was like, hey, you should wear more sensible shoes. You don't know when you have to like run from the cops. And she just looks at me, she goes, when am I ever going to have to run from the police? I go, yeah, you never know. Shit happens and you got to book it.
Well, what's funny is, there's a million people you can run from, but you chose cops.
I chose cops.
Yeah. Like, you might have to run from a fat cokehead. You might have to run from a criminal.
Yeah.
You're like, cops.
No, yeah. Well,
You're like,
when I was
you're like, you'll see. You're going to be doing some shady shit.
yeah.
And the cops are going to come, and you're going to need to run.
When I was young, we ran more from cops. than
Right.
we
And this
did
generation doesn't
people.
get in trouble.
They don't.
They're not interested in trouble.
They get in cyber trouble.
No, my kid did get in trouble. They were she
okay.
calls it pre-gaming, where they're like drinking in the parking lot before you go into the bar.
Oh, hell yeah.
She's underage.
Oh, wow.
Well,
She's
yeah, okay.
20, so she got a ticket. It's like a fucking almost $300 ticket.
Just for drinking in the parking lot?
Yes.
You'd think it'd be more expensive, and you'd think you'd go to jail. That's like open container shit.
She'd go to jail, but
Yeah.
she didn't.
She didn't run either, did she?
Of course not. And walk right up to the window.
Ask her what
knock,
shoes she
knock.
had on? Huh? Did you tell her you had the wrong shoes on?
No,
so you
me
could have got
and-
out of this $300.
Me and the wife both. She goes, well, we were pre-gaming, and I go, what? Drinking in the car in the parking lot? She goes, yeah. I go, by the bar? She goes, yeah. I go, yeah. They got those dumb fucking cops on bicycles now. And she goes, that's who gave us the ticket. I go, yeah. And Karen's all, you got to look in the rear views, dude.
Easy
That's why they're there.
Easy pickings.
And my kid's just like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm talking to fucking Bonnie and Clyde over here.
It's like her record's stacking up
I
pretty
was
quick
gonna
too.
say, dude.
You know?
I go, hey man, all I have is speeding tickets.
So what is
Bonnie
the
and-
point of the pregame going in? Explain to me.
Well, big time for her because she's underage.
yeah, she can't
So
drink
you drink
inside.
first, and then you go in and order a Sprite.
Wait, no, but
Right.
you can't even get into the bar, or is it a bar where I'm confused.
It's
Is it like a
so it's
restaurant?
probably a bar where if you have a wristband, you can drink.
Oh, all right. So
Yeah.
that's still a thing.
All ages show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
I thought it was somehow or another to save money and not having to get too many drinks inside.
Then there's that probably for her alcoholic friend. Yeah.
Okay, so just pound down as many $2
Yeah,
drinks you can
right.
outside, and
Outside,
then pay
yeah.
$15 inside for one. Got it,
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's when they go to goth night.
Oh yeah, you got to drink through that. Sober goth nights suck.
Fucking A.
You might as well put the lights on.
It's like, God damn, this music's sad. Turn the lights on. Ah. I want to get a suntan
So, yeah.
from these fluorescents.
That's funny.
So I just got back from Florida.
Nice.
I went to my wife's cousin's wedding.
Yeah, big wedding.
And, the whole time before I go down there, I'm just like, their uncles can be like her uncles can be very confrontational, my wife.
Oof.
And I told you one guy hit me at a funeral.
Right.
I told you about that, right?
Right.
I was sitting in a chair. This is how I meet this guy. He's just like, I'm sitting in a chair, and this is after his brother's funeral. He just overhand slaps me in the stomach, and then I machoed out and was like, I don't care. And then he fucking slapped me in the stomach again.
And you slapped his face.
No, I was just like, this is crazy. I don't
is
know how to.
Was it a
sla-
sign of affection?
No, it was just belligerent, drunken behavior.
How old-
This is the picture I'm trying to paint.
He's an old man, right?
So he was in his 60s probably at this point.
yeah, he's an old
Or,
man.
this is what we're gonna call him, an old man. And then the other uncle, it gets upset about politics and will just start
Oh,
talking,
my
going
God.
after you. It's not like it's right this close to going after you. It's
Right.
not like you live, but that's like silent.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're like, I
Are you
get it.
wearing like a Bernie pin or something?
No.
Or they just know, they assume you are a.
We smell like it, me and my wife. We're just like, look, we're the libs of the family.
Yeah, you're like,
the New Orleans and, obviously the California and we were in New York. They just know. People just know.
They know.
I mean, the odds are based on California, New York. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, and it's gotten to the point where when you go to another town, you put off saying where you're from. Just
Right.
like I'm always from Maryland when I'm traveling, which I am.
Would you consider that a neutral statement?
Maryland, I would, because most people don't know jack shit about Maryland. Most people get it confused with Maine, Massachusetts. They have no idea. A chunk of land is donated to Washington, D.C.
Right.
Washington, D.C. is like a circle that goes into Virginia and into Maryland. So we both gave up a little bit for D.C. People just don't know about, especially out in California,
Sure.
especially out here.
Yeah.
On the East Coast, people know what Maryland is.
Okay.
But anyway, a lot of people don't. Anyway, I'm sitting there thinking, and I know Craig does this. I'm about to go down there, and I'm thinking of a million different scenarios where they confront me, or there's
Right.
a speech where they're like, "Hey, we got these fucking libs from California,"
Right.
and then I'm not so worried about what they're gonna say as to what I'm gonna say in front of people.
Yes.
because I'm usually cool. But I have
Till I'm
my
not.
breaking point, and my breaking
Exactly.
point isn't a breaking point. It evens out into a really calculated, mean thing to
Yes.
say,
Right.
And so I'm scared of my own strength
Right.
on that one. I'm also scared of just taking it and then regretting it later that I didn't say something. You cannot win in a confrontation if you're a
No,
mature adult.
you can't.
Because you either make yourself look like a dickhead or you feel like a pussy.
Do you think there's anything you could ever say, even if you had the best point in the world and you delivered it with precision, that it would just freeze someone in there and they go, you know what?
Oh my God.
No.
You're
Take
right.
a step back, and I appreciate everything you just said, Matt.
No, there's
Yeah,
nothing.
exactly.
There's
Right.
nothing you can say. Just like it's pointless to argue online.
Right.
But then why do you
Be-
think they do it? Because they just get off on taunting you? Do you
Yes.
I think they do want to convert me when they're doing it. I'm not saying they want to convert me all the time, but when they are saying things
Right.
like, "Well, the shoplifting is legal in San Francisco," and they're coming at me on it, they want me to go, "You're right.
Oh, okay.
I fucking see the light." Just like you want them to see your light.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work. It doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on them. We just got to wade through this and hope for the best.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We just got to, it's time to start being cool. But anyways, that's what I'm saying. I'm scared somebody's going to say something in a speech and I'm going to go, fuck you motherfuckers.
Exactly.
Trump, fuck all y'all like something ignorant too. Like not even something smart.
No,
He's just like me. I know you're just like me.
Yeah.
Like you're scared of doing that because you've done it before.
Done it to my parents. I've done it too many times.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to embarrass my wife is most of it. She just married this feral fucking bachelor fucking idiot who's just had too much time like not doing traditional stuff. And now I'm thrust into it.
It's how men deal with stuff like
Yes.
that. Women, they go, oh, and they're quiet. And they calculate.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's how you feel. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel. There it all is. Boom. I think I fucking won. And they're like, oh, okay, let's see. War strategy. And then they like fucking come at you like 8 hours later. Here's a small list of new demands. And you're just like, huh? What?
Right. You just get sneak attack 7
sorry.
years
Yeah.
down the line.
Yeah.
You guys are fascinating. I grew up around uncles that would come over, get a little drunkle,
Yeah.
and really start spewing their stuff. And I just learned I just did the backwards walkout, just silently, like just disappear because I was just like, I don't know what all this crazy adult talk is.
Yeah.
and I am so out of that, and it just I kept it that way
Yeah.
for the rest of my life. Like people start spewing,
Right.
Like the classic is you can see it coming, right? Like, hey, did you see what happened on the news yesterday? I'm like, nope. And they're like, doesn't matter what your answer is going to be.
Yeah.
The question was,
I did, and I'm ready.
and the question's going into a statement regardless of what your response is.
Right.
And so I immediately try to just I start backpedaling I just walk away. I'm not interested. I
That's
don't want to get trapped in that shit either.
No.
It's got to be hard for you because you're fresh, right?
I was backed up against like a hot oven in like Thanksgiving. Like, I was backed up like physically. This dude's tall, like he's all over me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh, this will end soon. This will end soon. I'm like, oh, this is never going to fucking end. But he's also bringing up these Fox News points that I'm not familiar with. It's all this like crazy shit I've never heard of. So I'm like, okay, all right. No, I certainly can't defend that. Like, what are you talking, but.
Yeah, but you're like, I don't watch Crazy Town.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck fantasy you're having.
Right.
Now.
So I'm more concerned about like what I'm going to say like during a speech. But it's like, but we're going to go. My wife is the matron of honor. That's the married version, right? Maid is unmarried. Matron is, anyways.
Oh.
She's like the best man version of the women's side,
Sure.
of the bride side. I believe it's
Right.
matron
big
of honor.
speech coming, big speech.
Well, yeah, there's a big
speech,
speech, and that's what is. And so you just like, you know what, man? You're pre-overreacting. Everything is gonna be fine. It's been fine before. It's gonna be fine again. You got to go support your wife. Just fucking suck it up, and take it moment to moment. And the first thing we do is they do the speeches at the rehearsal dinner. My wife gives a speech. It's really sweet.
It's a yawn fest.
And then, and I don't want to trash this guy because I could tell this guy like wanted my approval. So I'm just going to tell you what happened. He gets up there.
Oh, man.
And you're like, at that point, you're like, oh, it's fun. I'm proud of my wife. I've got a beer in my hand. There's
nailed
barbecue coming. Everything's, and I'm happy for her because I know what it's like to have that responsibility.
Sure.
And then it's just over.
Right.
And he gets up and he goes, I quote Donald J. Trump from The Art of the Deal.
Wow. What a bootlick. What a bootlicking fucking cunt.
Talk about
Jesus, dude.
You're like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. Nah, it's
At a
not.
wedding?
Now you're overreacting. And he starts with a quote from The Art of the Deal, which everybody knows
my
Donald
God.
Trump didn't write anyways.
Of course.
He
No,
starts.
those people don't know that.
Okay.
That's the problem. But continue.
Well, he starts with that, and you just go, "You gotta be fucking
That's
kidding me!"
hilarious.
Now, did
I
he get
just-
any cheers when he first said it?
No, well, here's
Okay.
the thing: is that's not how you do it. Like
Right.
like that's inappropriate, even in a world full of Trump supporters.
Sure.
Because
You're like, why at the wedding?
the speech was barely about the people
the
getting
people getting
married.
married.
And even the people who back me up against the oven know that there are some outsiders here, and
Sure.
it's just such a strange way.
Jeez.
And then he does get into the people getting married. He starts saying
nice
he
of
gets
him.
into that. But then he closes with a quote from Donald J.
course he
Trump.
did.
He puts the J in there. Donald J. Trump from The Art of the Deal.
Wow.
And I was just like, talk about like, the fear was like there's going to be political talk. And the fear was the overreaction.
Right.
And then to see it happen immediately.
Right.
This has happened so many times in my life where I'm like, you're overreacting. And then it's just like your greatest.
I knew it.
But then also like forgive me, dude, if you're listening. I really feel like he like wanted my approval. Sorry, I just spit on you.
You're good.
But immediately I was just like, this isn't scary, or this isn't offensive, or this doesn't prompt me to shout at him.
It's rude.
I would call it tacky.
Oh, tacky as fuck.
I would call it tacky.
For sure.
And just like poorly thought out, because when my wife saw him hours before, he's like, yeah, I don't have a speech ready. So he might have AI'd.
He didn't have it?
He might have AI'd the speech.
Oh my God.
He AI'd it by putting Donald J. What would Donald J. Trump say in a moment like that?
Yeah.
I think his AI was 2 whiskeys, please.
There you go.
No, they're both for me.
Now, if this was a movie, you know what you would have done is you would have quickly written a rebuttal to give to Kristen to go back up and be like, now, to counter.
You got to say this.
It was a non-confrontational version of what I was afraid of. It was like, here's a quote from this guy. And I'm like, my reaction was, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
This is weird. This is tacky. But I was never at any point like, fuck this guy. You know what it was like? He wanted to talk to me afterwards, and I was already leaving, so he's just kind of like following me as I'm leaving. And I was just like, it was like after a comic bombs and you don't want to talk to them because you don't know what to say.
I watched you die on stage.
Yeah, you don't know what to say because like it wasn't like it definitely wasn't appreciated by me, but I don't think it was appreciated by and the guy even said the guy was talking to my wife going, "Oh, you hate me, don't you? You hate me for that." And she's like, "I don't hate you. Like, what are you looking for here?" And he goes, "Yeah, my wife doesn't like Donald Trump either." And then it's like, what are you doing?
Then why
are you fucking yourself? Because there's no requirement for you to praise Donald J. Trump during a best man speach. None.
You think that's where his mind goes to?
I don't know why he did it.
They're bootlickers, dude. They're just bootlickers. They have to.
That's the impression I got, was that he wasn't even that much of a Donald Trump fan. He just wanted to like appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like when you cater. We're all comedians.
Right.
We know when you go somewhere and you're like, blah, blah, but you're clearly an outsider.
Pat on the back.
And you get it this much wrong.
Yeah.
You get it this much wrong that they smell it on you.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, that was just so funny to me but it was also like, okay, this was the first thing. Okay, dam's wide open. Yeah. Just burst wide open, and here we are, and it's crazier than I thought, but it's not going to get crazier than that. You know?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Again, when I hear these stories, I'm just so glad that we're not close with my family or hers.
What did the bride and groom
That's
do?
beautiful.
Did you look over them when he started that to see how did a little bit of air come out of them at all, or did they kind of hold firm like, okay, good speech?
One of the uncles shouted out, "I thought you were a Democrat," but then he just like he didn't even respond to it. And then the guy didn't even respond to it. He just kept going with his speech. And that's kind of what happened. Like it was. But
you're holding the bride and groom hostage during this moment, right? Like that's the thing. It's like I'm curious. Like if they're like, can this guy just wrap this shit up? Like
yeah, that's kind of the thing.
It's like, as you know, I thought you were gonna say, which is the worst thing at weddings. Which is the person who's never done stand up is like, tonight's the night that I think I got a few hot ones in my back pocket. And they don't know how to react to a room that is not going to give them anything, and it spirals out of control.
Yeah, and I think
you guys have seen that.
I've lived it.
I've seen so.
But at least you know how to handle it.
Totally.
I've seen so many weddings for my job that when they start doing the speeches part, I'm like, okay, so we either do it's the bridesmaid, and the best man, and we're out.
Yeah.
And then there's always the parent that paid for it, that wants to give some long fucking drawn out speech. Yeah. Then sometimes the mom, and it's just like, God damn it. You know, I'm just sitting there, I'll look at my guard and I go, here we go.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to give a speech.
Yeah.
And everybody, you get up there, it's either cut and dry,
Right.
or it's just this long, how much you fucking love them. And
Yeah.
it's my sister. She's the most beautiful person. And I'm just back there like, fucking, shut up. Like, Jesus Christ, get to it.
There was a wedding I went to a year or two ago. It was so funny because there was this this Asian girl who was not English was not her first language, and it was so funny because she was friends with the bride, and she goes, "I'm so happy for the bride and the groom." She's like, "And now I will roast Kate." Right? Like you don't usually say that. She goes, "Now I will roast Kate."
Okay.
And she goes, "One time Kate got a cat and she didn't feed it and it died."
That was her opener? That was the opener?
That was the speech.
That was the whole thing?
That was the roast. It was so good. It was like, she's a bad mother.
So fucking great. Yeah.
You married the wrong woman.
Let's hope she doesn't have a baby, huh? All right, I'm out. Good day, guys. Cheers.
I will now roast Kate.
That's-
She cheated on her taxes.
See, dude? That's the speech I want to hear.
Well, it was short and sweet.
That's the one where you're like, finally.
I made the mistake
one.
in my youth. I was insecure in that, like, I wanted everyone to know I was a comedian. So, like,
Sure.
I was a best man twice, and I went for the laughs both time. And the first time was a little bit rocky because I didn't know what I was doing. Second time, I was a better comedian. But I regret it because I should have just gone up there and been like, I'm really happy for everybody.
Sure.
Because it ruined my day because I'm sitting there getting ready for the show like it's a show. And like, I'm not present the whole time. So I told my wife, I was like, you should just like, don't even go for funny. Like, don't go for long. I'm like, just say you're so happy that your cousin is happy and found the right guy and you love the groom. And she pretty much did it. She added some to it and she was done in like 3 minutes. It was fucking spot on.
Nice.
She didn't plan it at all. She just fucking, I was like, man, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or that's what I wish I did, So it was cool.
Yeah, keep it high and tight.
Dude, people don't understand brevity. You gotta keep it brief. Fucking a speech is a TikTok video. Just fucking cap it off and get the fuck out.
The longer you're up there, if you're not used to being up there, the greater the chances are you're going to panic and say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go. And then you're going to start melting down up there and it just gets weirder and weirder.
Here's what most people don't realize is when you're doing something like that, it's not a real show per se, quote unquote.
Right.
And so you're up there, the mic isn't so great, and you can see everyone's face.
Yep.
You can see people eating. You can see people talking.
Right.
You get all in your head.
Looking at their watch.
It's a mess. You just want to get up there and be like, I'm so fucking happy.
Right.
And that's what I did at my wedding. I was supposed to thank everybody. I just thanked everybody and sat the
Thanks,
fuck
everybody.
down.
And you know what? They were totally fine with that.
Yeah, totally.
was offended by that.
Except for my friends. My dad's friend was like, I thought all the comedians were going to make speeches and it was going to be funny. I was like, sorry, dude. No fucking comedians were talking. They're not trusted with a microphone here.
No.
And I'm just keeping it brief because I learned my lesson with the best man speeches.
Right.
And also my boy Daniel Tosh told me at his brother's wedding, he just stood up and was like, I'm really happy for, my brother and his new wife, his new bride. And I'm like, well, if Tosh fucking is doing it like that, then I'm doing it like that.
His mom was probably like, please God. please, Daniel, please.
Yeah.
Because he's very capable.
For sure.
You want to talk about roast? He's going to go further than a dead cat.
Hey, you want to talk about dead hookers?
Yeah.
Me and Tommy here.
But he knew the room. The room was not about him. That's the thing, too, is you got to remember.
sweet.
It's not just get up there, go, and let everybody get to the cake.
Here's how I know it's going to be a long, terrible speech. When I first came to this country, oh, fuck. Here we go, guys.
It's Godfather 2 over here.
And then I met your lovely mother after many whores. Many. I ran through her bitches like it's unbelievable.
It was so funny. I went to a wedding in Maine, and the maid of honor did that. Was like, was like, she started listing like ex-lovers of her, and there was like a woman involved in this. And in my head, I'm writing a joke like 3 Green Bay Packers and 6 76ers from Philadelphia. And who can forget that roadie from the Beastie Boys?
Right.
You know, like I'm just like finishing it in my head. But she listed like 3 people.
Oh my God.
That were like all over the spectrum of dating. And I was like, ooh, feel bad for the groom right now.
Hey, look, trust me, Tommy, there's a reason she really knows how to suck dicks.
My cousin did that to me though. My sweet female cousin. She was like,
That's awesome.
And then Matt had a lot of girlfriends. I was just like, she didn't go into it. She didn't go into it. But I'm like, this is fucking because she was so not the person to do that. And I was
expected.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's a good
And then
idea.
it knocked me on my ass too. I was like, I have had a lot of girlfriends.
I mean,
You know?
So there was a feel-good moment
Good
for
for
you.
me.
in this.
Yeah, it was like a celebration of my career.
it's like, thank you. I mean, when you write it down on paper, you're not wrong.
I think I just found a side hustle for us.
Can we get a slideshow here?
We need to be the hook guys, dude.
The what?
You hire them at the wedding for speeches. You know the people.
Yeah.
I think what's the famous at the Apollo where you get hooked, you get danced off.
Oh, the Sandman.
Yeah,
Amateur
you gotta-
night.
Just bring in the hook, dude. Like
Yeah.
you can call like, hey, listen, if you think it's going south, just hook them. Just get the big cane hook and just put it around them and start slowly
or
walking
just
in
or
off
just
the
like
stage.
or just like let a goat out of a cage and then it's a goat. What the fuck? And then the speech is just interrupted.
That's hilarious.
And then everything you say is funny because
Wait,
there's
what
a fucking
happened?
goat.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
What was he saying? Oh, who knows? They got the goat though.
So now I'm at a party and my wife's family, like her dad is one of maybe 8 kids and they all have 1 million kids and they all look alike and I can never remember who's who.
Hey, man.
And so
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever done a party as an adult, but it's really you're just walking around. It's like the in-person equivalent of a fucking an annual Christmas card.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what's going on in your life right now? But you don't really know the person. You're just married to
Sure,
their
you're just
blood.
married into their family.
And they probably don't even really care. And a lot of people will come to me with a question I don't really love. Are you still doing comedy? As in, like, are you still doing your hobby? And it's like, yeah, are you still a veterinarian? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, you still saving animals? Jeez.
There's this weird thing with veterinarians. When I went to a veterinarian in Maryland, where I'm from, with my mom to drop off her dog, the veterinarian was like, "Good luck. I hope you make it." I was like, "I'm stopping by on tour. Like, what are we talking about here?" And then there was another one where I didn't have my comeback right away. I walked out. I should have been like, "Oh, I should have said good luck to her."
Good luck.
But this guy, he's a vet. He's married to my wife's, married into my wife's family, and he was just like, he's like, yeah, how's the comedy going? How's the comedy going? And I'm like, good, everything's plugging along. And he's just like, yeah, man, I think one day you're really gonna get somewhere. And I was just like, I've traveled. I usually don't get like defensive, but I really wasn't being defensive. I was just trying to tell him like the facts.
Right.
I was like, dude, I've traveled all over the world doing comedy. I've played arenas. I've been on television. He's like, yeah, I really think people will notice that someday. Like all this shit.
Wow.
And I'm like, what are you basing this on?
He's basing it on the 6 people that become famous, and that if anybody that doesn't become one of the 6,
That's what I'm finding nowadays is like,
Right.
there's no, like, you're not allowed to be the middle class of comedy. You have to
Right.
be like, you have to play arenas or you're shit. Even my niece was doing this shit to me at Christmas time. So this is just like blowing my mind. Of course, you let it go after a while. You're like, all right, like whatever they think they think. But it is weird because like if I knew somebody was like a guitar player and been on TV and traveled all over the world, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. You're a guitar player.
Like, that's all you
what's
do.
called a working musician. They have
Right.
a career.
And there's a lot of those, by the way.
There is. I've met a lot of them.
Yeah, the easiest thing to do to explain to people is be like, you like sports? I do. Okay. So can you name every professional athlete that's ever played and got paid millions of dollars to play that sport? Well, no, but you can name all the famous ones, right? So the people below the famous ones, they did not make it in their career.
Yeah.
Right. That's what exactly.
The guy sitting on the bench always has a big house.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I thought, Brian. But I just, you don't want to take it too far.
No, because
But that's just in my head. You know, you just want to like stick and move. Be like, okay, I've done a lot. Okay, yeah, sure. All right. I did actually say I've already made it. I'm already doing it. I did, and then it was just at that, just done at that.
Right.
He wasn't trying to prove any point.
No.
He was trying to be encouraging, actually.
Yeah, if you can make it in the middle class of entertainment, you're doing all right.
Doing all right.
And that's most of the business, by the way.
It is most of the business.
We're talking about how hard it is now, but just imagine what it would have been like back in the Carson era. Like, oh, you do comedy? You've been on Carson? No.
Yeah.
Right? Like, 'cause if you weren't on
You're
Carson, like,
nothing.
were you really?
Yeah.
Right,
And
'cause
then
there
people,
wasn't comedy specials
you know
and
what
stuff like
people
that
say to
back
me
then.
too is like, I think you're going to be on Rogan one day. I'm like, I've been on Rogan 4 times.
What's your phone number? And then you just text them like a link to like.
Here it is.
People say, people say that shit to me, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. This guy. So another thing that happened on the way to the wedding, we're on the flight, and my wife like loves animals, and she wants me to take her to all these otter sanctuaries in like rural Louisiana with some Joe Exotic type shit.
Oh,
and I'm
that
like, honey,
kind.
look, that's like an above ground pool. Like you're gonna get rabies there. Like it just looks like
'Cause it's someone's
it looks
house.
like Joe Dirt is running this shit, right?
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
That's exactly what's going on.
but she wants to go, and she's just like animal crazy. And one time she was like, yeah, I don't want to. We had this conversation where she's telling me she doesn't want kids, and then she immediately zags to, I want to get an otter and dress it up for Halloween. And I'm like, I think you want kids.
That sounds easier, to be honest.
It's still not easier than an otter in a Superman costume. I'm sorry.
Have an otter.
But so we're sitting on the flight, and she turns on Chimp Crazy, that HBO.
Oh, dude, that's good TV right there.
And every 3
Oh,
seconds,
my.
she's like, "Oh, look at the little monkey!" And I know what's going on. She's like, "We need to get a chimp."
You're like, this is called Chimp Crazy.
You're just seeing the chimp part so far. You haven't gotten to what's about to happen.
We got to watch episode 4 or
That's
5
what I'm saying.
when shit goes south.
That's what I said. I said, this is a TV show. There's 4 episodes. Like, this is the hook.
yeah.
I'm like, I actually say things out loud. I'm like, we can't get a chimp. I'm like, they rip people's
I was
faces
just
off.
gonna say.
I'm like, they rip people's faces
Yeah.
off. And I'm like, she's a big fan of mine. I'm like, you want this gone? Because then you're just
Yeah.
stuck with a grumpy guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
With those shows, you always have to get to the episode. Then they ripped off his testicles and face.
I was already aware. I put off watching Chimp Crazy because I remember when that happened, when that in Connecticut, when that monkey ripped off that
my
woman's face.
God.
And I remember my girlfriend at the time, I walked in the house and she was all bent out of shape, just like she just like got the worst news of her
Stressed.
life. And she goes, I did a bad thing. She goes, I listened to the audio tape of the woman getting her face ripped off in the 911 call.
Yeah.
She's like, I just wish I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this documentary, like, because I got hooked too, and I'm like, but I know this exact thing is coming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am walking, I'm fast forwarding and walking out of the room when it happens. This is like months ago when I watched it.
It's brutal.
Yeah, no, it is. It is absolutely brutal. So I'm sitting there watching her getting all excited about these
Because
chimps.
she doesn't know?
Yeah, and I'm like, no, but I told her, but she doesn't care. She's looking at a chimp in a diaper, like fucking juggling on a unicycle or whatever.
Cute.
So we're talking to this guy that's a veterinarian, and I go, first we're talking about our cat.
Oh, that's
and I go,
great.
I go,
Hey.
she wants to get a chimp. Like
Nice.
just like I'm just setting this up for like,
This
all right.
guy will shut this
And
down,
he goes,
right?
well, since you have a cat, you probably don't want to get a chimp because the chimp's going to attack the cat. And I'm just like, if we have a cat, we don't want a chimp? Like, where's the it'll rip your face off advice? You're a fucking veterinarian. This is so irresponsible.
Did he not
I'm like,
get-
I think you're going to make it as a veterinarian one day.
Now I do have a legitimate question.
Okay.
Because you spend so much time down south.
Yeah.
Do they just view animals completely different than we do out here? Like, is he thinking to himself, well, it's part of our culture to get chimps and all these exotic animals out in this area?
It's hard to say because these are very well-to-do people, and none of them have donkeys or animals or anything like that. They're
I'm
not
talking about the
farmers.
exotic stuff, like, the stuff that'll kill you.
I feel like that's not rich people shit. I feel like that's like weird. This is how I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to be rich. I'm going to get this thing that no one else has. I don't have the money.
Right.
I have the fucking tolerance to have a beast in my house.
So over
But
there,
he didn't seem phased by it.
So over over there,
that's what I'm saying. So he thinks to himself, "Yeah, I've probably worked on a few. I've treated a few."
He
chimps
probably
before."
has, because over there it's legal to own any kind of animal.
Missouri, especially.
Exotic animals. That's why all those people live out
Oh,
there.
it's because of where you can get away with it.
Because whenever I watch those shows, I'm like, the only reason Bakersfield isn't overrun with people that own fucking tigers and elephants and cheetahs and what fucking ever is it's illegal.
Right.
Otherwise, Bakersfield, you'd be like, oh, look what the neighbor got, or a fucking wildcat's just on your fence.
And by the way, people still have them.
Yeah,
they
but-
just don't advertise.
Yeah.
My neighbors had ostriches,
There you go.
which I thought was just wild. You're in your backyard, all of a sudden over the fence is this ostrich just staring at you. Our wall was like 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And this fucking thing is on top of it like, you're like, what's going on?
There's that famous movie with Melanie Griffith growing up with the lions. It's not, you can't find it anywhere.
No.
I've been trying to watch that documentary.
That was their lion.
That's what I'm saying. But that was
It
in
lived
Los
with them.
Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's scary, dude.
So
They
back
attacked her.
in the day, you could own
You
that
could
shit
hear, yeah.
here.
Well, that was probably one of the reasons why you no longer back in the
That's why there's laws.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
somebody goes, oh, well, hell, we should put this one on the books.
yeah.
What did some guy got caught having sex with the
Okay, that turned.
It always gets there, doesn't it?
with the dead bodies at his funeral home. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, they were like, well, how come that guy isn't going straight to prison? And Arnold Schwarzenegger's like, turns out that we don't have that law. We looked. Now it's against the law.
No, it's against the law. So
Because it's one of those, you didn't put it down because you didn't think anybody was going to do it.
Yeah, we're having a lot of problems with that
Yeah.
in the modern era.
so when you got to this stuff,
I was just so frustrated. I was like, dude, you're not going to give her the message? You're not going to tell her that chimps are dangerous? Like, I think I was even saying this stuff out loud.
Right.
He did not seem fazed by owning a chimp.
Wow, he must not have seen any of those videos, or
I don't think you need to see a video if you're a veterinarian to know.
Yeah,
you should.
you studied these
If you're
animals.
a veterinarian, you should know that
You should.
that like a chimp will fucking attack you. It
Yeah.
weighs more than you. It's stronger than you,
Oh,
and
they're
it's
so strong.
It doesn't understand
at
until
some
it's too late. I think it does understand according to that documentary, but it's like, oh fuck, what did I do?
Right.
It's like being drunk.
Yeah.
You're like, what did I do?
But you guys got to the point. You've seen the whole show, right?
I've seen the whole show.
She has not. She hasn't gotten to the disasters yet.
But we were getting there. We were watching the second episode, and I walked outside a couple times. I'm like, I think this is it. I'm going to my grave without seeing that footage.
I watched that whole
three,
series. It's bad.
They show 3 different stories. I
yeah,
think.
it's bad. It's all sad and it's
It
just.
is.
No, but when the woman goes on Oprah and shows her face, which is fucked up, by the way. Can
I
you show
remember
your
that.
face? Like,
I remember
yeah, I'm walking out of the room for that. I think I saw like a split second of it, and I'm horrified right now. I mean, that's just such a tragedy.
Oh, for sure.
You
Here's
know?
the problem we also have. There's too many Instagram reels of showing like man goes back to the tiger that he saved as a whatever they're called when they're little, and the tiger comes running over to him like daddy meow, and they've got the music and it's like meow
Yeah.
meow 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 meow. You know what I mean? And you're just like, yeah, but in the big picture. The cat is hugging a dinner meal.
Yeah.
Like at some point.
That cat's
it's
going
not-
to Sizzler.
Yeah.
And that Sizzler is your ass.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing because well, we've only seen episode 2, but I was like, see, I'm like, we're getting there. It's the
Nah,
one about
yeah.
the Connecticut where they raise the kid and you see how people fall for it. They
do.
go like, well, we love this thing. And we
Sure.
just spent 5 years, and it seems like
in your life.
It seems
yeah.
like your kid, really. It's at the dinner table.
For sure.
It's eating off your plate. You're
Right.
like, the whole town loves the thing.
Yeah.
And then you start to pick up on it, that it's violent, but you go, nah, but he's not going to fucking get us.
Right.
He loves us.
Until he does. My mom, they had a monkey, a little monkey.
The little
I'm
monkeys.
sorry?
Yeah, this is what I said.
You sneaking this in?
Well, yeah, that's
8
what my
minutes into the
mom did.
conversation?
One day, she's just like, we're watching some show and they had those little monkeys.
Yeah.
Like the ones in Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
taking
Yeah.
the And my mom goes, "Oh God, I hate those monkeys." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "Well, we had one for a while." I'm like, "What? Huh?" I go, "Are you kidding me?"
Had to go live in a jungle gym.
I go, "You guys had a monkey?" She goes, "Yeah, that son of a bitch." She's all, he would take your food and then throw his poop at you, or take your food and throw your food back at you. He's like, she's just such a jerk. And I was just like, oh my God, he'd bite you.
Yeah.
He only liked your grandpa.
Did you lose your mind when you heard this?
Absolutely.
But be honest, at first you thought you guys couldn't keep the monkey around for a little while?
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Is that how you first
yeah,
felt?
I was like, why did
Because your first thought is me and my monkey buddy,
me?
right?
I would go to grandma and grandpa's and hang out with the monkey.
Yeah.
Well, how many
monkey
movies?
buddy.
How many movies have we seen?
Yes.
As children, where somebody just has a monkey,
Right.
Or there's a monkey kicking a field goal, or
Yeah.
whatever
Right.
the fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that story. And then my other grandma would tell this story about these people in their trailer park that had a crow that could talk,
Okay.
which I found out is a thing.
Sure.
But she said that, and I go, what? Like a parrot? She goes, yeah, but it's a crow. Or a raven. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
And then she says, if you cut their tongue, which I'm like,
Oh,
that's evil.
that's so mean.
But the reason she even brought the story up is because she goes, your grandpa would hang out with this guy because he liked hanging out with the guy and the talking crow. But the crow would always get him in trouble because they mimic you.
Yeah, I've seen this.
So they sound just
yeah.
like you.
Right.
And so it would sound like my grandpa would be like, hey, baby, when the women would walk by. They'd be like, what? You son of a bitch. He'd be like, it wasn't me, it was the bird. And they're just like, fuck out of here. It's a crow. Like, no,
What?
it's not a parrot. You know what I mean?
What a scenario.
That's what I said.
What a fucking scenario.
'cause they're all-
She smacked me because the bird fucking said she had a nice ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what planet are you living
That's
on?
what I'm saying. And they're all like white trash. Like, so it's just this white trash trailer park where this is happening. And this guy has his pet crow. I'm like, wow, that's such a good TV show already. I love it.
When's the show Coleman Crazy coming out, dude? It's just you just reflecting on your life.
You know what? I've written pieces of this down and I'm just like, how do you put this in a show?
Becoming a Coleman.
Because it's all so weird. When you put it all together, it's like, what? A talking crow.
You're
And
the
a-
only
and a-
comedian where this headshot makes sense. So, what's a guy to do?
Yeah,
I had no choice.
Like when I do hang out with my cousins,
Yeah.
every now and then we'll intersect and I'll meet their kids. I'll tell these old stories of, the aunts and uncles and grandpas that they never met.
Yeah.
They've only heard about these people. And my cousin will be like, yeah. Tell that story because they're fucking wild stories. And the cousins are just like, what? And I'm all, yeah, that's your bloodline.
Yeah, it's wild,
This
man.
is who you come from.
And by the way, just so we're clear, cats deep down, and I used to have a lot of cats, and I love cats, but deep down inside that they do look at you every once in a while, and you've ever looked at them and you go, I think that cat wants to kill me. It actually does.
My cat wants to kill me all the time. My
Yeah.
cat goes for it. My cat bite. We got like 3 neosporins around the house.
Yeah.
This cat just bites and scratches.
Mine's
Yeah.
a biter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our new cat, he's the shit, but yeah, he's
when-
a little ass.
But they still, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
push comes to shove. Just letting you know, I love cats, love animals.
Apex predator,
There you
dude.
go.
They're not hiding it.
Yeah.
They're like, sometimes I like you, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Yeah.
half the time we're cuddling, it's just so some predator doesn't kill me.
Yeah, exactly.
Predator's going for you, my
I
man.
need to sleep.
Yeah.
I know you can protect me, and you're warm.
My wife had this cat she absolutely loved, and then it died. And I was like, I talked her into getting a new one a couple months later.
Mm-hmm.
And this cat came to our house, the one we have now, and it's just a small 2-bedroom in New York, and it was
Right.
freaking out, like pacing the whole thing, like yelling at us, and just wouldn't let us sleep. It was just like attacking us in our sleep.
Ooh.
And my wife is just in fucking tears. Dude. She's like, I think I need to send it back. And she called the people, and they're like, huh, that's weird. It bites and scratches, huh? never did that here. And we're just sitting there like, yeah, right, it didn't do that
Liar.
there. You fucking liar. You're just going to get rid of this cat. Eventually, she fell in love with a cat, but it was... I hate to laugh, but it was like funny how much she hated the cat because you guys know her. She's so sweet,
right?
And she loves animals so much,
right?
And it just made her miss her other cats so much more. Because it's like Changeling with Angelina Jolie. It's like, this is not our kid.
This isn't it.
Yeah,
this isn't.
My
it.
cat sent me to the emergency room twice.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
One time took my head out going down the stairs and I fell.
Yeah.
Like jumped out of my arms and he literally lose my forehead as a launching pad.
Yeah.
So ripped.
Oh, yeah.
Ripped part of my skull. Jesus. And then I fell backwards, smashed my head against the stairs and I had to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, but the whole time I was like, Natalie, where's the cat? She's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like this guy just tried to kill you and you're worried that the cat got out?
Yeah.
And then the other time
fine.
was I got caught in between a cat and a dog fight.
Oh.
And he bit down on my finger. And I was like, oh, that hurt. And then like later on that night, I'm like, I can't sleep. My finger really hurts.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you know about the cat saliva thing, right?
It's got all kinds of germs in it.
That shit'll kill you if you don't fucking go to the doctor. Like once you feel that pain, you need to go to the emergency room immediately. And I was like, what's up with dude? Like I take care of dude, and like he has tried to murder me twice.
Yeah.
If it was like 1902, they would have either cut your finger off, or they would have been like, so your husband's gonna die. Within 2 weeks.
That's how they find shit out, right?
Yeah, that's how they find shit out. They're like, we have nothing for this.
So like my wife obviously loves animals. So we're like, when we were in Louisiana, we were looking through like a cat adoption. Because it's the pandemic, you're looking at everything you can get your eyes on.
You were there back then.
Yeah, we weren't looking for a cat, but she's still like browsing,
right?
Like a Sears catalog in November. You know what I mean? And there was this one cat. We always reference it. It says Snapper. He doesn't know how to love yet, and that's what we always call our cat. We're like Snapper doesn't know how to love.
That's pretty great.
Yeah,
that's pretty solid. You're gonna have to learn how to love.
Yeah, no, the cat's gonna go to the grave, just never.
He's like, this is who I am.
But the cat just needs so much attention from us. Like the cat is clearly obsessed with us because we're the only people the cat knows.
Yeah,
true.
You know?
You ever woken up in the middle of the night with the cat holding a pillow over your face?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill. Oh, hey, you're up.
Meow.
Hey.
No, I have to. The cat wakes me up every night, especially when my wife's out of town. Like right now, the cat will wake me up because it wants me to go look for her or something. And the cat like freaks out, like she wants my wife to be home, and so every night she'll wake me up to go, I guess, look for her or whatever. And every night I put her in the bathroom with some food and some water in her litter, just so I don't get waken up a million times. And every night the cat doesn't put two and two together that if it wakes me up, it's going in the bathroom. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know why it doesn't learn because it just feels like it's right? Like it just feels like I don't care if I go to jail. It's like a civil rights activist.
Right.
It's like I'm going because I know what I'm doing is right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
They don't.
Strange.
They just don't care.
They don't care about right and wrong.
The biggest mistake we ever made was we initially had gotten one of those auto cat changers, like in the cat box. So the thing would do it like an automatic. Like thing would go through and rake out all the stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, my cat just spent all night going, stick his paw in there, and then they'd be like, okay, I guess we have to clean it. And would stop. You're like, okay, I guess we need to clean it. And we're like, all right, that fucking thing's got to go. That cat just played with it all night long. And they don't care.
Nah.
Because then you wake up, they're like, hey, you're up.
I was playing with this thing.
Somebody take a shit in his box.
What do you want to do? You want to do something?
My cat, we bought a water, just the water thing. And our other cats would get sick a lot. And she read a thing where it's like, oh, they got to have moving water.
Yeah.
So we bought a thing that bloop, bloop, right? Well, turns out cats get fascinated by shimmering and moving water. So Fucko just starts knocking that shit over. And I'm like, what fuck are you doing? He would just keep popping the lid off of it because like, it's like coming from here. Knocks it over, stops working, gets water all over. So we bought a new one. All right, this is a big one. It's heavier. Fucking not dumbhole fucking over here. So first of all, it has a connector to plug. You plug it into the wall, then the connector to the fountain. Fucking asshole over here has figured out like, so this turns it on. He unhooks it, and then he'll stare at that for a while. Then he'll walk over to the fountain, which he's already knocked over the fountain. Knocks it over, then the water just keeps pouring out, but now it's onto the floor. To the point where you wake up and there's just water all over, and you're like, "You're an asshole."
And
what are you doing, dude?
What of it?
Yeah,
You just figuring this out now?
yeah. So he hasn't even had water for 2 days. Because I don't know what to do. Because then she just gave him just a regular bowl, and he looked at that and just fucking knocked it over.
Not fun.
Fucking animals. Fucking animals.
The amount of shit you do have to put when you become an animal lover, I'm telling you, part of it is torture.
He's not an animal lover though. It's hilarious. Like when we were zooming,
He's an animal tolerator.
he takes good care of the cat, I assume. But like he gets mad at the cat. When we were zooming during the pandemic, you just see him like look off camera and go like, "Oh fuck, the cat just came inside to puke." You know, like he gets pissed at the cat.
So that was the other 2 cats. They both died. And now this new cat, we're fucking madly in love with this son.
Oh, okay.
Bitch. I mean,
this cat can puke wherever it wants.
But he doesn't, so it's
So you
great.
love it. Thanks for listening to Cat Guys.
Everybody's got a pet.
Tune
Everybody
in
has a
next
pet.
week when we talk about toys and wet food. Pledge on Patreon, patreon.com/the full charge. And if you're on the East Coast or in Florida or San Diego or a couple other places, check out thefullcharge.com. I'm coming to a theater near you.
Oh, shit.
Or a fucking barnuminium near you.
Yeah, and don't buy a chimp.
Do not even walk past a goddamn chimp.
Highly recommend it.